Hey guys, this is Stormi Maya, and you're watching John the Ninja.
Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? Yes, my voice is hoarse. Let it go. Okay, I had a very good weekend, but I'm having a better day because I'm with a woman who is literally everything you would ask for when it comes to being an example of greatness. Now, what would that mean? Is it a historian? Yes, she is one. When it comes to a business mind, yes, she has one. When I'm telling you this woman has one of the most important stories you're ever going to hear, it's true because she's truly a trailblazer. And when I say she's a historian, it's not just a historian in history of like World War II and stuff like that. Every field she's ever entered into, she has been a mind to absorb it, whether it was music, TV production, whether or not it was movies, whether or not it was branding and doing her own thing. When I tell you this woman is pretty spectacular, I mean it. Her name is Stormi Maya, and she has quite a lot of hats, including the one she's wearing right now. But I digress. For me personally, I love the fact that she is a musician. She's done hip hop, she's done rap. There is a difference, people. One you dance to, the other one you lyrically contain and explode lyrical content. But she's also the lead singer of Cinnamon Girl, a heavy metal, new metal, also rap group that tackles very sensitive subjects. She's also an actress, and she's been in shows and movies such as Hustlers, Bars. She's written and directed movies. Shark was one of them, and one that she's currently working on, HickTown. And also, she is working and just shot for a very, very decorated magazine called Strip LV magazine, known for featuring art and eroticism. She has a 12-page pictorial shot by Santa Donato. That's a hard name to produce, but I guarantee he's one of the top leading photographers in the industry. And that magazine is also including Pamela Anderson, Zendaya, Jenna Ortega, Dua Lipa, a bunch more. But the point is, Mademoiselle is here to talk about her amazing life and how that shoot went with Strip LV. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a Miss Stormi Maya.
Hey, hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Mademoiselle?
Great, thanks for having me.
No problem. First things first, I really had to ask you because a long time ago, before I had any inkling of doing this podcast, I saw you in an interview and it was the most random thing because this particular event you were at, you showed up at randomly. And it's a little random to know how that show actually influenced my podcast and the interviews I've had. You were at a Power Rangers convention.
Oh my God, I knew you were gonna say that.
And I know the story of like it was a random, like you just were on Groupon, you wanted to go and enjoy, but I have to ask how your experience went. Did you become a fan or is that just a one off?
I'm just that kind of person. I like to just do fun, random things. So I don't know anything about Power Rangers. I was even there telling people, like, I don't know anything about Power Rangers. And I just wanted to go just to like get out the house. I like to just have fun, like being around people. And I don't drink or smoke or like clubbing. I don't really like those types of environments. I'm more of like a festival, like expo type of person. So I don't know. I went. It was fun, but I didn't learn anything about Power Rangers. I'll be honest. Like if I did, it already left my brain.
There's a book my friend just released on it. We'll send it to you. We'll get you right, free of
Okay.
charge. But you know, you have to have a certain type of spirit to want to go out and meet people and learn. And one thing I really appreciated about you is your willingness to absorb and learn different things and learn from people. You've always had this drive to do that. I wanted to know if you think that stemmed for anything, or if there was a particular point you realized you loved going out and learning and meeting people.
It's just my personality. So I'm naturally very introverted, but I do like to go out and experience things. And I got that from my grandmother. My grandma was like super, super adventurous. Like she loved to just go out. And one thing I love about her personality is you could take this woman anywhere and she would just have the best time ever. Like she had a very positive spirit. And it's just like, hey, let's get out the house. Let's just go somewhere today. Let's just go out and have fun. And so I just grew up like that, just kind of going out, going to different places. And so now I just love it. I hate being in the house all day and I just love to go out and do something, you know? So that's just how I am now. I like to go out and do something, but I like to go out during the day. I don't really like going out at nighttime. At night, it's like we're in the house now. So
You know, a little bit of the best of both worlds. You got,
yeah.
but you know, I love the fact that you've created so much, because there have been stories we don't really get to hear about grandma. We hear a little bit about mom and then how you survived the foster system. I wanted to know
Yeah.
what was that relationship with grandmother, because dad wasn't there. Of course, mom and you had a strained relationship. I wanted to know how grandmother really was in the picture as well for you.
My grandma's really like that. That was my rock. She passed recently, which was really hard for me, but she literally was like the woman that molded me into who I am. Like she's the one who taught me about just how to carry myself as a woman, how to keep my house clean. Like she taught me my work ethic because I've been working with her since I was about 6 or 7. My grandmother owned her own cleaning business. So I'd go with her and then I'd help out. And so by the time I was like 8, 9 years old, I'm full blown cleaning places with her. And she just taught me like you work your ass off. My grandmother owned her own cleaning business at a time where Black people owning their own business was really unheard of or really hard to do. My grandmother was able to buy her own house. My grandmother was able to like put her children through college. She paid cash for my mom to go to Penn State. My grandmother like worked her ass off. Like she gave my mom a good life. My mom was the first one on her block to have a computer in Philly. Like so my grandmother like she was a hard worker, and I took a lot of those values with me, and I'm really thankful for like how she taught me. And then at first she wasn't happy about me doing the sexy stuff at first when I first started. But as she saw me making money, as she saw like me climbing the ladder of success and saw that like this wasn't just me on Instagram taking pictures for attention, this was me like building a career, she started to respect it. Like she had my Penthouse magazine next to her bed. Like she was proud that I was in Playboy. Like she went to the movie theaters and watched me with her friends. Like so she got to a point where she's like, okay, my grandma really loved money. She really loved business. And she really loved people who were self sufficient. And like one thing she always taught me is like, you don't beg anybody. You don't, you always go out there and get it yourself. And so once she saw it was about my money and I was serious about what I was doing, she started to respect it. So that's what I loved about her. She was very open minded when it came down to it, because a lot of people just look at me on the surface and say, oh, she just showing her titties. That's all that's to her. And they don't see like the hard work that I put into everything that I do, all the different avenues I've been in and the avenues that I am in. And that's fine. Like I don't really need validation from a bunch of random people because I know what I do, but that's where I get my core values from. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
love your grandmother. She about her business. Let's make this money.
Come on, let's get that money. Come on, let's go.
God said money's the root of all evil. He didn't say it was bad. We can get it. Let's go. It's one thing to also look at the fact that I've noticed that in culture, a lot of not just black but Hispanic, seems like a lot of the families are very apprehensive. Even Pinky stated that. She was like, my family wasn't happy about it, but when they saw me starting to climb that ladder of success, a lot of other performers have stated that too. For me, again, my heart screamed bloody murder when I found out a couple of years ago about Cinnamon Girl. I thought it was in reference to Typo Negative. Shout out to those guys. We've had some of their memos on. I know that was a fan basically calling you a cinnamon.
So the band is Cinnamon Babe. No, cover of that. So now we have a cover. So Cinnamon Babe has a cover of Cinnamon Girl. But I want to be honest with you, I did not know about that song before the band name. Like I didn't know the name. I didn't know about that song. So people think I named my band Cinnamon Babe after Cinnamon Girl, but like I literally didn't know about it. And then this label Cleopatra that I was working with, they're the ones who told me to make the cover. So that's why I made the cover, because the label was like, yeah, go make this cover. And I was like, all right.
I wanted to really pinpoint that moment when music hit you because you're a lover of all music. So
I make metal now, which is really what I love to make, and that's where I'm at. The hip hop stuff wasn't me, the rap stuff wasn't me. That was like my ex boyfriend was my music producer. Like I wasn't making music, and I was just like a Instagram model actor. And then it was this wave where everybody was like trying to take these Instagram models and put them into music. And this was before Ice Spice and all these other people came out. And I was like, I was interested in music. When I went to school, I went to school for music production and all that when I was younger. But I don't know. I didn't know how to do it. Like I didn't know how to make music. I didn't know the process, and I had all these people trying to like, oh, you should be a rapper. You should be one of these female rappers. And when I first started, like, I was like, well, if I'm gonna do this, I want it to be like about stuff that I care about. So I started off with like conscious stuff, and I wanted to, talk about real issues. But I think it just was like I wasn't the right person for it because it was like people looked at me like you're being conscious, like you look like you'd be like more of a Cardi B, Nicki Minaj type rapper. So then I feel like a year after I started music, I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna go into what people want me to do. I think people want me to talk about dick and talk about being sexy. So I tried it for about a year, but to be honest, it really wasn't my passion or my thing because I was like, I don't know, I just wasn't really feeling it. I was like, okay, I get my whole image is sexy and I love, you know, being a sexy woman. But I was like, with this, the thing about music is you can't see the people when you're listening to it. You feel me? Music doesn't have to have a face to it. That's what's powerful about it. When you're in the car or the mall and you hear a song, the way the person looks really is not that important. So it kind of was like I didn't really see the point of me making these songs about sucking dick and being sexy. Like I didn't really, it just didn't drive me. It was like, it was boring to write. It was boring to perform. I didn't really like it. And also I'm like, there's more to me than this. Like this is the surface, but intellectually, like there's more to me. So I was like, I want to talk about things I like. And also I'm not a big hip hop rap fan. I've always been a metalhead. I've always been more into alternative music. And so I was like, why am I into something that I'm not even really passionate about? And so I remember I was in the bathroom listening to one of my favorite bands, Straight Line Stitch, and I was like, I want to be this girl. Like, she's a black woman in metal. And I'm like, I want to be that. But I just kept thinking, I'm like, I can't be that. Like, how am I going to get into metal? Like, how would I do that? Like, what? I don't even know the first thing about making metal music. Like, I love the genre, but I'm like, I don't know how do I get the musicians? How do I do this? It's so different. Like, I'm not just buying a beat online. Like, you have to have a full blown band and all this stuff. And writing, it's different as well. But I went for it and I don't know, it just came naturally to me. And it was just something I was just naturally good at making metal. And the way I rose in metal is something that did not happen for me in hip hop or rap. And I don't think would have happened because I feel like what sells people is being authentic, and I authentically love metal and rock music, and I started talking about stuff I gave a fuck about. I wasn't talking about sucking dick. I wasn't talking about being hot. I talked about racial issues. I talked about women's issues. I talked about feeling isolated. I talked about things that really resonated with me, and then I was able to talk about those things. I was able to advertise them. I was able to push it, and people resonated with me and they were like, "Oh, I feel the same way you do." So, when I dropped Rock and Roll is Black, I made that song because I felt like I wasn't welcomed in the space. That was organic, that was natural. And because of that, so many people were like, "I feel the same way." And I feel like that's what works, being authentic. Now, if you authentically just want to talk about sucking dick all day, I feel like that will also come to you. But for me, that wasn't my driving force. So that's my
And
music journey.
and you've mentioned that you did like Korn, you like Linkin Park, Rage Against the Machine. Zach De La Rocha was a big
Yeah.
influence on your delivery as a vocalist. But
Yes.
again, I really, because you also mentioned some of the hip hop. I know that's not where the core love was.
I'm not like a huge hip hop like head like that. Like I like old school hip hop, a lot of it, like boom bap and stuff. But like I said, if I'm listening to stuff in my car, I'm not really listening to rap like that, to be honest. Unless it's with new metal, like it's a little different.
When I think about when I was growing up and I found music, I was a big AC/DC fan, and then it just kind of trickled for like Iron Maiden, and I had this intense love for them because they had an intense love for black culture and Hispanic culture. All the
Yeah.
artists, Eminem, I wore him intentionally today because he's a perfect representation, and you're a perfect representation of the odds against you because of your ethnicity, because of what you love and how good you are at it. People won't like that. I wanted to know if that was a safe space for you musically growing up and how you gravitated to it. Because for me, that was the first time, as a talker, as somebody who was expressive, as somebody who did
Yeah.
everything, that was the first time playing and feeling like I was truly conveying some form of communication to the world when I was playing music. I wanted to know if that was the first time you felt that way when you heard that music, or if that was the first time you felt empowered as a woman of color.
The thing I love about like metal was just like how you can just be so raw in it. It's like you can just scream. You can just like it's that build up. It's that oh what the fuck. I feel like everybody on this planet, everybody has the urge to just fucking scream about something, but we're not allowed to. Like if you're in the grocery store or you're in or if you're in fucking work and you get pissed off, you can't really just like, oh what the fuck? Like, you really can't scream. I mean, unless you want to be people are gonna think you're weird or people are gonna call the police on you or something. And it's just like such a natural reaction to just being frustrated, but it's like all day we walk around suppressed, like we can't express really how we fucking feel about things half the time. And what I love about metal is you can just completely unleash that. You can just completely be raw with your emotions. And sometimes I'm in the booth and like I'll just work myself up talking about something and then I'll just be like, ah, and I'll just scream and just go off. And it just feels so empowering. It just feels so real and just raw and I love it. And I love that now I have this space and this fan base where I can just be honest with them. And it's like a space that's welcoming. Like I can now be like, I'm depressed today. Or I can say, these guys are being freaking bigots or whatever. And I can go off about it. And then now I have this audience that's like, yeah, F those guys. I feel the same way. So music is the only space I have to really be honest and raw. And that's what I love about it. Because when it comes to all the sexy things that I do, it's very much performative. It's very much like, hi, I'm pretty, I'm sexy, I'm cute. And, that's what the guys like. They don't want to scroll on Instagram and see a hot chick like complaining or ranting. It's like they're trying to just get it off. And when I'm an actor, I'm playing somebody else and playing whatever that character's problems are. So Cinnamon Babe is the outlet where I am able to be raw, honest with myself and with everybody else and find people who feel the same way I do about things. So that definitely, I would say music is definitely the first time in my life where I'm able to be that raw, authentic person.
And you know what? I got to give you 100% credit because, as everybody knows, you do have a son. Mira, you were pregnant on tour, and you were throwing it down. And I'm sitting there like, yo, that kid.
Oh, you saw me on stage pregnant?
That kid is gonna know. He's gonna pop out, and he's gonna be 100% ready to rock and roll. Like, I just wanted to know your take on that at the time because being pregnant, you've expressed on your vlog how that was also trying time. Like you're a vegan, but you had to go back to vegetarianism to try and stay healthy. And there's so many parameters behind being pregnant. And you're here doing the touring life, which is already tolling mentally and physically. So I just wanted to know, like, when you found out, was it kind of like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? Or so like, okay, I can still do this. That drive is always there every time you speak.
I planned my pregnancy. I planned my baby, so it wasn't a surprise. I planned everything. I'm a control freak, so everything in my life is organized and by design. So that includes pregnancy. I wanted to get pregnant. I wanted a baby. I did not pick a good person to have a baby with, unfortunately. I thought at the time that I was, but um, nonetheless, I'm very happy to be a mom, and my son has an incredible stepfather that loves him to death, and so he's very taken care of. He's very spoiled. He's a very happy baby. But um, I never just walk in fear. Like I don't live my life like that. Even now, like I've led 3 movies this year so far, and I have more movies coming out that I'm working on. I'm currently in the process of producing 2 feature films, and I'm also in the process of making my debut album for Cinnamon Babe right now. And I have a 1-year-old. And like, so what? I feel like there's no limitations unless you put them on yourself. I'm going to school for nursing. I'm helping run this nonprofit that I'm now working with. I could talk about that later. Um, I'm in the process of, yeah, producing these 2 feature films and also being an actress, for projects that aren't mine. And I'm traveling, I'm wrestling, bustling. My son, his first year on this planet, like we were out. we were out. Like last year, my baby, we were in Ohio doing a movie. I was in Oregon. We were in Vegas. We were in LA. I had to do shows out there. We were in Atlanta multiple times because I've done multiple movies in Atlanta back to back. We were in New York. We were in Florida, New Orleans doing interviews. Like we be outside. We go out. We do what we got to do. Like recently I had to go to Atlanta for a month for multiple projects. I live in Wisconsin. Put the baby in the car. I had my pets with me. We drove 16 hours to get to Atlanta. And when I was in Atlanta, I did this reality show. I did a movie where I was the lead of called She Likes to Watch with director Robbie World. And I did like a couple other little random shows and stuff. I did like a little sci-fi web series while I was there. I did multiple photo shoots. And so we stay busy. We do what we got to do. So ain't nothing but an extra passenger for me. Like,
But how wonderful is life right now after all that hard work? You know, you're doing things that people would only dream of, and you're
mm-hmm,
able to do it confidently. That's another thing a lot of people talk about. Like, you got the act on, but you still have this fear of imposter syndrome. Before we get
mm-hmm.
to the movie, because I want to hit HickTown, you did mention the nonprofit, that's CC Cattle Company.
Yeah, CC Cattle Company. I live on a nonprofit farm. It's actually my man's nonprofit. So he started this nonprofit about 5 years ago. And so we live on a cattle farm where 100% of the beef goes to feeding people in need. And we also have horses, and they're used for equine therapy. So people come out here who have PTSD or just going through issues. Anybody could come. They had to sign up through the therapist, obviously, but it's free to anybody who comes, and they have a real therapist out there, a licensed therapist, and with her, they talk about their issues. And horses are just known to be very therapeutic animals, so people like to ride them, pet them, spend time with them while they speak about what they're going through. And we also have, like I said, the cows are out here. People are welcome to see them, say hi to them. But the thing is, they get treated very well. They're pasture fed. Unfortunately, they get eaten. Uh, they get eaten, but they are, they go towards people who need food. And so I told my boyfriend who started the nonprofit, I said, I think we need to get to more people, because the thing is, we're far out in the country, and not everybody has access to come out here that are within Wisconsin. And the thing about it is, how he's been doing the donation process is, whenever the cows are mature to the point where they can be butchered, he donates all the beef to food pantries. And then that's the exchange. But I said, why not like do something where we can bring hot meals to people like that need it, like in cities, and like people who don't have access to food pantries or who don't know about it. So I said, let's just get a food truck and let's go out and like feed people with it, right? Because the whole mission is really food insecurity is what he fights for. So I started a fundraiser on my Instagram page, and I was like, hey, everybody, like, we're going to raise money. I want to get this food truck, and I want us to give away free hot meals to people in need, whether it's homeless people, just low income people, a lot of kids during the summertime, like that free meal they got during school is not there anymore. So, like, why don't we just try to like feed as many people as we can? And a lot of people disappointed me, I'd say, my fan base, just because I did get some donations, but a lot of people just like didn't believe me. And I don't really know. I mean, I really feel saddened for them that they've probably experienced a lot of scammers and stuff in their life. But one thing about me is everything I say I'm gonna do, I do. And I'm like, this nonprofit has a good representation, a good reputation and a good track record for what they do. He's fed over 10,000 people since he started. And so I'm like, you know, I have no reason to lie to people. On top of it, I'm like, I do well for myself. And if I wanted to lie about something, I wouldn't use something like hunger or helping the less fortunate for that. Like, that's just disgusting. So unfortunately, a lot of people, they don't believe in what I'm doing, or they don't believe I'm going to do it, which happens. So what I did is, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go get the food truck, because I didn't want to wait months and months and months and months for people to donate. and believe me, because half the comments were just like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, you're gonna do that, And I think it's because a lot of people aren't used to people just doing good things without it being some type of weird motive. And there's no weird motive here. We just want to help people. So I was on Facebook Marketplace, and I didn't know how long it was gonna take me to find a truck anyway, because a lot of it was just out the price range. And my goal was to find something under 10,000. And I found this amazing food truck that was only a 2024, and the guy bought it to like start a food truck with his son, but unfortunately his son passed away, so he just wanted to get rid of it. And so I was able to talk him down to like $9,000 and get this pretty much brand new food truck. It still needs a generator. We still got to get like a kitchen set up in it so we can cook in it, and we still have to get like the wrapping on the outside, things like that, so people know what we're doing. But for 9,000, I'm like, this is a deal, because honestly, the thing is probably worth like 15 to 20,000. And so I got the food truck. We just got to get it operating. We got to get some money so we can get it all together. So I still have the donation link up. And I have the news coming tomorrow to do a story on it. So I'm very excited. And I'm hoping that we can get this thing ongoing. Like, I want to start this like the end of June or early July. It just depends on how long licensing is going to take, things like that. I just got my food handler's license over there. Just got online the other day, but we got to get all the like health inspections, fire inspections done. But the whole goal of that's just to feed people, go out and do what we can to like help as many people as we can, feed as many people as we can. So that's what the nonprofit's doing right now. So if anyone wants to help out, they go to cccattleco.com or look up CC Cattle Company here in Wisconsin. And that's the missions, like helping people. Literally, that's just the only goal. Like,
Also, CC Cattle Company 2020 on Instagram. Mira, when I first
yeah.
heard about it, I was sitting there, I was like, this might be a conflict of interest for her. I don't know.
You think so? Oh, because I don't eat meat. And I've heard people say that, like when I first got with him and he told me what he was doing. I never judged it because people eat meat, Like, I'm not one of those vegetarians that pushes my values on other people. Like, that's my own personal journey, not eating meat. Like, I'm not going to tell other people they can't. And that's what he's chosen to do to help people, and it's feeding thousands and thousands of people. Like, one cow can feed so many people. They're huge. They're humongous. Like, they're the size of freaking cars. They're huge. So it's like, I know what his mission is and I respect what his mission is. And so as his woman, like, I'm not there to conflict what he's doing. I'm not there to combat what he's doing. I'm there to help him, and I'm there to add to his life. And so if this is what he's passionate about, that's what I want to help with. So when he said that's what he does, I'm like, all right, well, I'm jumping on board. What we're doing, we're going to feed some people. Let's go. So
Something that I'm enjoying about this interview, and I don't mean to be overstepping bounds, is a lot of interviews in the past while you were, I want to say growing up, because we all grow maturely spiritually.
yeah.
A lot of fire in the interviews. You were hungry, you were going for it. And then it slowly simmered to this smiling a lot, really joyful, talking about what you're doing. But I always think about my parents, how they were having their struggles, but it was so imperative for them to, like, you know what, let's not break up, let's stay for the kid. But I've always seen like some families, yeah, you know what, I can understand, like, mom needed to get away and then build a better life. And then other families, it's like, you know what, they stuck together, they made it work, and look what happened to the kids. Parents were miserable. I wanted to know for you, because you said you were with your ex baby daddy, and once you got pregnant, his style changed, and you had enough self-confidence to say, this is not what I want, this is not what I need, because this won't benefit my son. Was that kind of the last learning curve, last step you had to get to the ultimate self-confidence you have now? Because as I stated, the interviews you do now, the people you talk to, you're just on fire 100%, and it seems like you've kind of conquered all those struggles that you dealt with earlier in life.
I think the difference is, like, for one, becoming a parent, it should change you. If you doesn't change you, that's a problem. Being a mom will definitely calm you down, and it also will make you move differently. When I became a mother, everything in my life, the mission became stability, and it became like a good life for my baby. Like, I don't want him to ever be in a position where he doesn't know where he's going to be at, or he doesn't know if this his home is going to be stable for, or if his food is stable. Or I want him to always feel like he knows where his food's coming from, he knows where his home is. Like, I want him to feel safe, I want him to feel comfortable, and I don't want him to be around chaos, arguing. I don't want him to be around drama. I want him to be in a pleasant, positive environment at all times. And children deserve to live in peaceful homes. Children don't deserve to live in a home of abuse or arguing or instability. And so that's one. Second is just like, I dated really horrible people before the relationship I'm in now. My baby daddy was very abusive to me and my son. For the like 3 seconds he was there, because I left him when, like, well, technically we broke up when I was 6 months pregnant, and the abuse was getting really bad, and I told him he had to go when I was 6 months pregnant, because I didn't want him affecting my pregnancy. That's how bad he was. Yelling and screaming constantly, breaking everything in the house constantly, throwing things, just scream. It was just horrible. It was like living in hell every single day. Stealing my car, stealing my money, calling me all types of names, just destroying my self-esteem. Like, just, it was horrible. It was like to the point where I literally was like suicidal while I was with him. Like, I'm not even joking, because he abused me so badly. He made me feel so ugly, so disgusting. Like, that relationship destroyed my spirit really bad, you know. And then before him, I dated someone, my old music manager, and he was just like, he just was so mean to me. Like, he I won't necessarily call him abusive, but like, he just had this snarky, rude attitude about everything, and he was super controlling. My ex manager slash boyfriend I was with before my baby daddy, and he was just so controlling, and he just didn't hear me out. Everything I said, all my ideas, like, he thought were stupid, and he just made sure I knew they were stupid. And it just was like, it's just, he was just so disrespectful towards me, and it just was, it was horrible. Once again, he destroyed my spirit too. And so that would always affect me and how I would move. I always felt so unheard in those relationships. And then, like I said, once I was pregnant, I wanted a better life and a better environment for my child. And you got to have a happy mother. Like, the key to a happy child is a happy mom. Like, children need their mothers to be happy. If the children sense their mom's unhappy, it's going to heavily affect them. And my son deserves the happy version of me. He doesn't deserve the high anxiety, stressed out version of me. And his father came back, because I spent my pregnancy alone. Like, the majority of it. He was there in the very beginning. But like, at 5, 6 months pregnant, I told him he had to go. It was too bad. And then he didn't come back until about a week before I had the baby. And I shouldn't have called him. I should have, like, honestly, hormones, not thinking. I was stressed out about how I was going to do it by myself. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, the baby's going to come home. And I wish I would have never called him, because, to be honest, I did everything anyway. And it's like, it's all about confidence. Like, I didn't believe in myself that I could just do it alone. So I called, like, the devil back in, which I shouldn't have done. But I asked him to come back, because I was afraid of, how am I going to get to the hospital when I go in labor? And how am I going to do this? And none of that. So he came back for like a week. My grandmother was there too, thank God. My grandma was there. My grandmother helped me so much with the baby and stuff. And she was my rock. She was there when I gave birth. I'm happy she was there. And he was just so negative, and like, he was just, the way he talked to us. I had to bring my baby to the hotel with me when he was 2 weeks old, because he broke a window. He was yelling and screaming, causing a freaking scene. Just, that's how he always was. It's just chaotic energy. And I had just had a baby. He put all my stuff out in the yard. My house, he put all my stuff out, and I had a 2-week-old baby. It was just chaotic. So it was dealing with that. And then I was like, I have to get away from this monster. Like, he called our son retarded, because he was crying a lot, and he was like a week old. He's like, well, why are you crying so much? You retarded. Like, that's how he talks, like, super abusive. And I was just like, I'm not tolerating this shit. You know, you could talk to me like that. You can abuse me. You can mistreat me, but you're not going to mistreat my child, you know? So at that point, I was like, I got to get out of here. Like, this man's going to bring nothing of value to me or my child's life. He's going to just destroy our lives, destroy our spirits. And I told him I had to go. So I ran for it to LA, not from LA to Vegas. I had already had plans of moving to Vegas, but he thought he was going to come with me. And then I was like, I'm going by myself. I told him. So he told me I had to give him $1,000 for him to leave. So the Uber was outside like the next day or whatever to take him to the airport. And he was like, I'm not going unless you give me $1,000. And so I gave him $1,000 and I was like, go. I had to give him $1,000. I had to get him an Airbnb for like a month. And then I had to get him a plane ticket. And then he was going to go. And I was like, all right, here, go. Leave us alone. And then I get a phone call. Like, I'm thinking everything's good. I'm starting my life in Vegas. 2 months went by. Like, I'm with my baby. I'm at peace. Like, I had such peace in my life once he was gone. I was so happy he was gone. It was just like the devil had left my life. And me and my son, we were peaceful together. And I want women to know, like, too, like, life is not that hard with a baby by yourself. It really isn't. And I was with my child alone. And for the first time, I really enjoyed life. Like, me and my baby went to museums together, art shows, parks. Like, I'm just with my child, just enjoying that peace. Never waking up in the morning like, is someone going to yell at me today? Is someone going to call me out my name today? Is someone going to break my stuff today? Is someone going to throw something at me today? It just was peaceful to know it's just me and my child. And that was it. And I didn't have this fear of him screaming and crying and someone was going to get mad about it. And it just felt so good. So I stayed celibate. I was celibate since, obviously through my pregnancy. And then once me and homeboy had broken up, I was celibate for like a year. I'm like, I'm not touching anybody. I'm not having sex. I'm not kissing anybody. I'm not dating anybody. I'm going to focus on my child. And I was breastfeeding as well. So I wasn't going to, jeopardize that. So I just spent time with my child for a year, just literally refinding myself. And that year helped me heal so much. I feel like for people, when you go through an abusive relationship, you need to take time. Don't jump from one to another. Because the thing is, I told myself, before my abusive baby daddy, I was with a person who also mistreated me. And I've been mistreated now over the span of like 5 years, 4 or 5 years. I've had nothing but abusive relationships and being mistreated. And I was like, I can't do this with my son. He does not deserve that version of me. He needs a healed version of me. So I took time. I was like, however long it takes for me to find something healthy, I'm staying single. I'm gonna focus on my child. And that year, I started focusing on me. Like, I didn't focus on what my man wanted. I didn't focus on what a man wanted from me. I literally just tapped into the creative part of myself, and I found out all these things that I was good at, things I wanted to do. And I was able to then find a healthy relationship. I found my now current partner, my boyfriend, and it's been so healing being with him because he doesn't yell at me, he doesn't scream at me when we disagree with things. He's such a calm person. He's a first responder, he's a fireman. So I think that's a reason too, like he has such a calm demeanor because like he's used to really high intense like things happening every day and coming at them very calm. So it's very healing for me to be with someone. He's a lot older and he's just mature, and he's been able to provide me and my son with a beautiful home, a beautiful house. He takes care of me. Like, if I don't want to work, I don't have to work. And he's very supportive of everything I do. He supports the OnlyFans. He supports my acting career, my music. He thinks everything I do is amazing. And he supports me. He doesn't shame me. He doesn't go off on me. He doesn't get jealous. And we've had our little hiccups. Like, we had broke up for like a couple weeks because I found him like texting somebody inappropriately, whatever. But we got past that and we were able to do it maturely. And it's just like he's such a good person to my son. Like, he full blown like is in dad mode with my son. My son now calls him dada. And he treats him amazing and he's so good to both of us. Like, Christmas, holidays, everything. He's so good to us. He took us to Disney like a month ago for the whole week, me and my son, and like he treats us really well. And he's never called me out my name, he's never disrespected me. So I think a lot of that changed my energy being with a man that loves me and respects me and talks to me nicely. And as a couple, we go through our things, but we're super supportive of each other. As you see, I'm very supportive with his nonprofit and what he does. And then he reciprocates that with what I do. And just being in this calm, healthy environment, being outside of LA, being outside of New York, and now being in Wisconsin on a farm where it's also very peaceful. I think a lot of that's changed my demeanor, and I think that most women, whether or not they realize it, want a soft life. I think most women don't realize, like, they don't want that struggle shit forever. They don't want to argue. Like, I see people on Instagram posting like, oh yeah, thinking it's cute throwing plates and breaking shit, and they think it's funny and cute to like be in these toxic cycles with men of like they calling them out their name and da da da, because it's such a normal, and it's so chaotic and it's so uncomfortable, and it's like, I feel like if we all had a choice, wouldn't you want to have peace? Because my home is peaceful. I made it a peaceful home for us, for me and my family. Like, now we have a family life. So yeah, I have my entertainment. I do all the stuff I do, but I get to now come home to peace. I get to come home to the horses and the cows and my child and my man, and we cooking, and you know what I'm saying? And we're not in no drama. We don't have ops and all this other shit going on. And I just love that. So I think that's why I now just seem more clear headed than before, you know?
It's funny because I was thinking of that interview. You were with Steve Harvey one time, and a lot of the things you stressed, like, ladies, figure
Yeah.
out who you are, get your peace of mind. I think when you said having your son really gave you time to reflect, because
Mhm.
at that time he said a lot of the same things that you said you had to do. You were on the right track. You wanted an older man, you wanted stability, but he was like, you need to take some time for you. And I know firsthand, 100%. Like, somebody's telling you, like, hey, they're doing you wrong, but you have the blinders on. You're in a
Mhm.
different space of mind. So I think being able to sit back and get rid of the craziness, I think that really helped
Yeah.
tremendously. And Mina, I'm thoroughly impressed with your acting, and from just randomly doing that in I know it was like drama club, just randomly, and then you went on to do all these projects. Mina, we're gonna call we're gonna call Tyler Perry. We're gonna get Miss Zazie Best ready, and we're gonna get your life story going. All right, it's gonna be great, and you're
Oh
gonna do
my
little
god.
cameos. But speaking of acting, you're
Mhm.
working on HickTown, and when I first saw the initial video on YouTube, I thought it was a short, and I thought it conveyed the thought perfectly for that particular project. I needed to know, considering you have worked on other films. Of course, you also have the horror story about the other producer who you trusted, and then gave too much power, and you learned, like, I need to be in control all the time. And having
Yeah.
worked on Shark, which I thought was a brilliant idea, having rappers, real life rappers, convey the thought, like 8 Mile in real life, not as
Yeah.
dramatic. I wanted to know your approach for this particular one because, again, you've always been pro black, you've always been pro empowerment of women and people, you've always made your projects go towards making people feel good and having that confidence. I think this is a brilliant film from what I've been able to see. I wanted your take on how the writing process was approached differently and what you're hoping to do.
I mean, I've always wanted to produce and I've always wanted to write. I don't ever want to. I don't like directing. It's not my passion. I'm not good at directing, but I do love creating stories and bringing them to life. So Shark, I'm not really proud of that project because it's not done well. I had a lot of people who weren't experienced work on that film, and it was just me. I was really young. I was like 23 and stuff, like just trying to make something. But I've learned now a lot about filmmaking and the proper ways of doing things. And there's a reason I haven't made Hicktown yet. I've had so many offers of people trying to make Hicktown for me where it would cost me no money. And I've said no. So basically, Hicktown is a story I wrote about 3 years ago. And I have my friend Nehemiah St. Lot. He's a writer out in Florida, young black guy starting his like writing career. And the thing is, like, I love creating stories, I love writing, but I hate writing in like the screen writing format. It's very time consuming, and I'm a very much like on the go, got to get things done person. So I was looking for writers, and he was one of the people who had contacted me, and I liked his writing style, and so I decided to go with him. And we've been creating this story for like the last 3 years, like going back and forth, changing this, changing that. We've changed it so many times. So when I was super young, when I first started creating stories like Shark and stuff, I was just very much about, let's get it done. Let's just film something. Let's just do anything. And it was no quality. The sound's bad. The color's bad. The acting's bad. The story's bad. The script's bad. Because it's just like people want to create something and throw it out there. And which is why we now have all these Tubi movies that are very bad. And I know you guys talk all like a joke now. Like there's literally just like Tubi movies, as they call them, these ghetto Tubi movies. It's like a big old joke. And it's like, oh, people got people brag to me on top. Oh, I got like 20 films on Tubi. I got like 40 films on Tubi. Yeah, we can tell. And like they're so concerned about just making movies and not quality. They don't care if the movie looks like shit. They don't care if the audio's bad. They don't care if the acting's bad. There's no art in it. They're using it like the new hustle, the new drug deal. Like it's just, I'm gonna make a billion movies and put them out. I don't care if they look like shit. And I've done them, and I've watched them, but it's like I'm at a point where I want to create stuff I'm proud of. I want to create stuff that I look at and I'm like, that's my film. I don't care if I have one movie that I make. If that movie is at the quality of a Titanic or the quality of a Natural Born Killers or the quality of a whatever, like a film that a Moonlight, a film that's significant, that would matter to me. I'm at a point now of maturity where it's quality over quantity. And every day I get people, oh, I made 10, 15 movies on Tubi. I make 20 movies a year on Tubi. We can tell. What's the budget for all these movies? Oh, like 10,000 a piece or 5,000 a piece. They look like it. And like I respect the hustle. I respect the drive. I respect the just doing it on your own if you don't have a lot of money. What I don't respect is the lack of artistry, the lack of story, the lack of care. And if you're like 20, 21, 22, which was how old I was when I was making like Shark, having fun, I'll give that to you. But these are grown ass men, 40s and 50s and stuff, making these films back to back to back. And the thing is, I'll give you your first film. Everybody's first film is horrible. You know, you're just having fun, trying things out. Maybe your friend has a camcorder. But 4, 5, 6, 7 movies down the line, and you still making stuff where the audio is, or the script makes no damn sense. There's nothing but plot holes everywhere. The actors are hard. No, like no, I'm tired of seeing this. And the thing is, reputation and your body of work means everything. Like, because that's what's gonna, when you're dead, when you're gone, that's what's left of you is your work, your art, what you left to the world. You want to leave crap. So I put out there, I'm gonna make HickTown. I have 4, 5, 6, 7 directors. I want to make this movie for you. Let's make the movie. Let's just make the movie. And then they're talking about make the movie for like $10,000, $20,000. No, it's gonna look like shit. And like, I want to have real actors in this. I want to also pay people. Like, I'm hearing, oh, we'll make this movie, but we won't pay nobody. People deserve to be paid. Artists, crew, they deserve to be paid. I'm not doing this shit of, oh, I'm going to get people and not pay them. Even if I can't pay you a lot, I'm going to pay you what I can, that I think is fair for what I can afford. Now, if I'm rolling around in like budget money, I'm going to give you everything that I can give you, but I'm never going to say zero. I'm never going to not pay somebody. And that's like how they're approaching me. Like, let's just make this movie, not pay people. I don't live like that. And I care about the quality. I've been working on this film for 3 years because this is my redemption. Like from Shark and all that, like that film is, I have a distribution deal where it lasts 8 years. So I think I got like another, I don't know how many more years I got left of that, 6, 5, 6, whatever many years. And then once that deal's over, that film's going to be gone. I never heard of again. But what I'm doing right now at this stage of my life is I'm building my actual filmmaker's resume. Like I'm building up like my real films. And like I want a film that's worthy of going to Tribeca. I want a film that's worthy of like being watched in 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now. Like, so no more of this bull crap. So I'm raising money to try to get like the budget up. And it has it at 10,000, but like we need more than 10,000. It's just because Kickstarters are all or nothing. So like if you don't reach a certain amount on Kickstarter, like you don't keep any money at all. So my goal is like I'm gonna do stretch fundraising. So let's say I raise $10,000. With $10,000, I will film what I can for $10,000. That clip that y'all saw on YouTube, that like 3 minutes, cost me $10,000 because I was paying people a livable wage. I paid for their hotels. I paid for everything. But if I was there's another $10,000, for example, I try to get like a certain amount of scenes done that sell the film, and I'll just do it like that until I can like make a full movie. I'm not gonna sit here and make a whole movie for $10,000 and then have it lack the quality and everything it deserves, especially a story as powerful as this, because HickTown talks about the false incarceration of Black men. It talks about racial identity. It talks about things that are super heavy and important that I feel like deserve to be seen. And on top of it, like, I'm tired of trash shit. I'm tired of trash stories, especially in the Black community. I'm tired of every movie just being about drug dealing and stripping and selling pussy and killing each other. Like, it's like we're just poisoning our community with just this nonsense. And it's like cool and fun every now and then to watch a movie like that. Don't get me wrong. I think that movies like that should still exist. But it's like, as a creative myself, I believe in what you put out there. I want it to create something, create a spark that's positive. So this movie, I wanted to evoke like conversation about the false incarceration of Black men, talk about the rape, the fake rape allegations, talk about the racial issues, talk about like how it feels to be biracial, growing up in a white neighborhood and how that impacts people. And I want these real conversations to happen. I don't want to just make movies about gang banging and rapping and all this, because it's at a point like we need more in our community than just those topics, you know? And so that's why HickTown means a lot to me. I'm also in the process of producing a horror movie as well, because I do love horror, and I love like what Jordan Peele's doing. I love to see our people in like different things besides hood films. I love that we're tapping into sci-fi and horror movies and other genres as well. Because as you know, I'm that kind of person. With me being in metal, I love when we're in other areas. We're not just in these stereotypical areas. So that's like what I've been doing. I've been trying to kind of get out of just the hood shit, and I'm trying to go more into what I love to do, which is more of like the obscure things, you know, the alternative things, as you call it, you know.
The encouragement of hearing how you're speaking and how you're talking, some of the greatest movies for our generation. I always think of course, I know they're laughable and it's a good time,
Yeah,
but I always do think of how Friday kind of took the
I love
negative. I'm a
it.
big NWA fan. I love Ice Cube, and just remembering when he would do interviews, it's like, you know what? The reason we use the N word is because we're taking it back. You're not gonna hurt us with that. And that's kind
Yeah.
of how I felt he approached Fridays. Like, hey, these are our jokes, but no one's gonna turn it on us. And then I think of all the other movies like Boys in the Hood and of course Kids. You have had interactions with Spike Lee, and though brief, and though it was intimidating at the time, I do kind of see like little moments in life where it's you don't know where that influence is going to come back. And I was
Yeah.
wondering if you ever pondered like, yes, you've always been passionate about these subjects, but is there anything that you caught yourself doing in this process? I know you're not directing, but just how he approaches the sets and organizes everything. Do you remember anything observing from him or anybody else in the industry that you've really said, you know what, this is the perfect thing. I want to ensure while we're making this film, we conduct this way.
So one thing I'll say, as someone who's been on both major sets, independent sets, and hood films, non-hood films, the thing that I do not like about a lot of hood productions is how a lot of them carry themselves on set as well. Um, Typically, when I've done those types of films, that's usually when I'm dealing with not getting paid, not getting paid enough, and then just the professionalism of how you carry yourself. One thing I believe in as a producer, as a filmmaker, is the experience that you give your crew and your cast. They might not walk away with a ton of money, but what you can have them walk away with was a good experience. So how you speak to them, how you treat them is very important. Like, I've been on sets where they don't want to feed us. I've been on sets where they got us working 15, 16-hour days. I'm on set where that's the way they're speaking to everybody, cussing and hollering, name calling. And that is what stuck with me at the end, not the payment. Because even if you're paying me a lot of money, one thing I'm not going to tolerate is disrespect and lying, or um, just insane hours that make no sense, you know? And it's like, as a producer, as a creative, I don't want to ever have people walk away from one of my sets and feel like they were disrespected or they weren't appreciated. I want people to come back and want to keep working with me. And so, working with Spike Lee, working with just any director of that level, you typically have a good experience because you're going to have a full crew, you're going to have a full team taking care of you. And that's why I said I don't want to make this movie for $2,000 or $1,000, because I want to be able to give people a good experience where they can get enough food, have a comfortable place to stay. I want them to have their own dressing room. I want them to be able to have just a comfortable place to be. I want them to feel like there's enough people on set pulling their weight, because on these really, really small sets I've been on, you got 4 people doing the job of 20 people, and everyone's getting burnt out. They'll have one person doing hair, makeup, nails, wardrobe. Like, you can't do that to people, especially when they're trying to rush you and get this movie done in a insanely small amount of time. And so that's one thing I've been observing. And one of the things from Shark that I, didn't like was, I hired people that didn't know anything about filmmaking. Like, I hired a camera guy who only did music videos. He didn't do movies. I didn't have a proper sound guy on set, which I didn't respect how important sound is. Sound is, to me, the most important out of everything in a movie. Like, even if people are, like, when people watch a movie, most of the time they're listening. And then think about when you're at home watching TV. You might be looking at your phone. You might be in the kitchen real quick, but you're still listening. That's the most important thing, is what you're hearing. And I know for me, like, if the audio is bad, I can't hear it. I can't listen to it. I'm not going to listen to a bunch of wind and the microphone being on your shirt. So a lot of things like that I didn't respect before when I was way younger. And then also acting. I hired for Shark. I was just having fun. I hired a bunch of non-actors. Nobody in that was a real actor. And the acting was terrible, which, like, is the most important thing. Like, so I would never go back to hiring people who don't know how to act, or who are not at least, like, willing to learn and train. I spend so much time and years on my craft through theater and training that you're not going to come into my craft and not have enough respect for it, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to reward people who don't care about the craft when there's people out here busting their asses trying to be actors. And like I said, like, I had a guy come to me. He's like, let's make the whole movie for $10,000. Like, we'll just film it in like a week. Boom, get it done. And I was just like, it's gonna look like shit. No, and I said, like, I respect filmmaking too much to just make something that looks like crap. Especially with AI and all that coming out now, you're gonna have to step your game up to stand out in the film world. And so how I plan on doing that is having powerful stories that other people can't compete with, because these are stories that I resonate with, stories that I take from people I personally know, stories that I've experienced. And that's something AI can't compete with, is that personal experience.
In the past, you've quoted all these people, these wonderful minds like Angela Davis, Huey Lewis, and etc. But Mira, the fact that you're able to take these real life stories, sometimes real life is a little bit more, it just seems more fictional than the actual
Yeah.
stuff we make up, because life imitates art imitates life. And some of these stories that, they're pretty brutal. And as people read them, they're just so desensitized. I think the way you're trying to conduct this film is really going to bring it to light, in ways that, of course, back in the day we had all the good shows like Fresh Prince of Bel Air and Good Times, all these shows that tried to convey it. Speaking of your exploits, Mademoiselle, you did get to model for Strip LP, and I bring that up because of the hustle angle they put on it, because they said you're a hustler.
I am.
I wanted to know your experience with that.
Strip LV was great. I worked with them and we did a really fun photo shoot, and very professional, had a good experience. But yeah, I love working with, like, I work with Penthouse, Playboy, Strip LV. I'm also a Suicide Girl. Um, I always, like, reach out and, like, I love to just collaborate and, like, hey, we both got fan bases, we both got platforms, let's work together. It says, as long as you're professional and you treat me right. And so far, so good. Like, everyone's been very respectful. So, and then I would love to work with them again too, like, in the future.
For younger ladies that are doing what you're doing, they have their hand in all these pockets. What would be some of the things you would advise them on before taking on these shoots? It's not as, crazy or as hardcore as the porn world, that industry, AVN, etc. But then again, a lot of women are just like Pinky did back in the day. They're using sex work to try and catapult to the next step. And there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes going about it can make or break an individual.
So the thing about it is, I guess it just depends on you. Like the thing about me is I was heavily sexualized before I even got into sex work. So I felt like I wasn't really taken seriously in anything prior to even doing what I do. Like some women, you just have a certain sex appeal or a certain aesthetic, I guess, where you just kind of get that attention regardless. So starting when I was like 15, 16, that's the kind of attention I was getting. Like I remember working at a pizza shop when I was 16, and the manager got my phone number off of the list and was like in love with, he's a grown ass man too, and he just was like super in love with me, like begging me to be with him. And it was just like, that was just job after job I had. Like I got fired from jobs because I wouldn't have sex with the managers. I was constantly asked on dates by everyone I worked with, and this is before I got into sex work. And so it just was like, no matter where I worked or what I did, it's kind of the treatment I got, even fully covered, you know? And so then I just like, sex work for me was empowering because it was like, at least I'm now in control of this and I can now like get compensated for it. Like this type of attention, now I can take this and turn it into positive for me. And so that's what I did. And so I just love now that I'm in control of that. But I will say I got into this very young. I got into, the first time I started shooting pictures like this, I was 16. But like I was just doing pictures at the time. I wasn't like a stripper. I wasn't doing OnlyFans. Obviously, I wasn't nude or anything because obviously I was a minor. And I don't know. I was wilding. I should have done that, but I was a kid, so I don't know. But I will say that, protect yourself. Don't go to shoots by yourself. Especially if you're really young. I can do it now at this point because I've been in the game for so long. But when you're starting off, don't go by yourself. If you can, bring like a man with you because they'll treat you completely different. I will say that if you bring men with you to shoots, you might have photographers who cancel shoots on you or don't want you to come. And if that's the case, it's probably because they were going to try to flirt with you or they were trying to like have some weird, this one, I don't know, gawk at you, getting off on it, whatever it is. But a majority of my shoots were men who just wanted to like hit on me during the shoots and treat it almost like a date. And the only issue with that is some people don't know how to take no for an answer. Like I've had photographers pull their willies out on me like multiple times, pull their freaking penises out during shoots. I've had photographers kiss me against my will. I've had photographers touch me and rub on me inappropriately. And I was able to like handle it because I have a certain type of demeanor where like, or personality where I'm able to kind of deter that type of stuff where it happens and I'm like, all right, put that shit away. Like the fuck, you know? But I guess it depends on your personality. Like it still made me super uncomfortable at the time. And you're also scared because you don't know like how far they're going to take it. But I would just say like bring somebody with you if you can and try to just like, I don't know, like feel people out, like ask other girls about photographers. Like, so what some of these photographers do is like they won't try stuff with the bigger models, but they'll do it with the little girls like that nobody really knows of. So I had this one photographer I worked with a couple times. I had nothing but a good experience with him. Like he never did nothing to me. And then because I worked with him, other girls trusted him. Like, oh, you work with Stormi. So one girl, she's a stripper at the same club as me back in when I lived in New York. And she was like, she went, and she didn't tell me she was gonna do it. She just went on her own. Like I guess she saw him tagged on my Instagram page. So she went and worked with this photographer that was tagged on my Instagram page. And he during the photo shoot asked to eat her pussy, right? And she said no. She was doing a nude shoot with him, and then he went and did it anyway. He went and licked her vagina, and that's sexual assault. That's assaulting someone. And she was really messed up from it. And like I would be too. Like if I told someone they couldn't eat my coochie and they wouldn't like lick my, I'd be fucking pissed. Especially because he had like really bad breath. He had like almost like gum disease. Like he had like rotten teeth in his mouth or something. I don't know. His breath. He had like really bad halitosis. And which I never cared about when it came to a photo shoot. But if someone licked my vagina with rotten teeth, I'd be pissed. But I'd be pissed anyway because I said no. So she came to me crying about it, whatever. I called because there was two different companies that I had worked with him with. I called them all up and told them what happened. They cut ties with him. And it's just like, see, that kind of stuff happens. And now I feel responsible. That's why I hate recommending people now. That's why I hate like vouching for people because that type of stuff happens. But that's the thing. I'm at a level now where people really don't mess with me, like photographers at least, because I have a big enough platform to where I can be like, yo, don't work with homeboy. He's a creep. He did this during a photo shoot. But like I said, they might do it to somebody who has like 2,000 followers or something.
How would you like to be presented now? Now that you have this opportunity to, if you would like to do a nude photo shoot, to really make it grand, you can do as you please as far as setting up the story.
Yeah, that's what I liked about Penthouse because Penthouse, they did a whole like Cinnamon Babe shoot for me and they talked about my music. They even licensed my music to use for my video clip. And they talked about my music in it. They had me do a whole like Jimi Hendrix style photo shoot. And I think that was really dope. Like they have this one shot of me butt naked on stage with like all these hands like in the crowd, like I'm performing naked. So that was really like an awesome shoe. It's one of my favorites. But I love when they do that, when they add like parts of you and what you like and what you believe in into your shoots and make you more human, you know. I don't like to like have a persona, and I think that's what makes me different from some people is like a lot of girls have stage names, they have personas they put on. Stormi Maya is my real name since birth. And I'm very authentic and raw. Some guys don't like it. Some guys literally hate that I talk and that I talk about real issues, especially about race and things like that. And some people love it. So I'm like, I'm an acquired taste. They're so used to these Instagram OnlyFans girls that just bounce up and down. They don't say anything. They don't have a personality. And so sometimes they hate me because they're like, you're not supposed to be all this. You're supposed to just shut up and show us your tits. But I don't just shut up and show them my tits. I tell them, hey, if you want to just see my tits, you can go to my OnlyFans and just see my tits. But, you know, outside of that, I'm going to open up my mouth. I'm going to talk. I'm going to be who I am. That's just who I am, you know? So,
A story that always broke my heart because for me, until I left where I was in New Jersey, I never had to announce my ethnicity to people. Now I have to tell people like, yes, I'm black, yes, I'm Puerto Rican. It was a really weird dynamic and something that broke my heart when I was working at the pharmacy during COVID. I had the afro going, wasn't kept well, but we had it going, and another biracial child walked up. And he's with his parents, he's doing his thing. He's just looking at me. I'm like, okay, kids, look, I stare at people all the time. But then the mom was like, tell him. And he's like, I've never seen somebody with the same hair as me. And it did kind of break my heart of like, wow, I've never had that happen to me. And you've always been a very, very strong advocate for hair. We know your story is like how you actually shaved your head bald after doing all these things with it and then let it grow naturally. And you were very empowering. I just wanted to know because for me, that story was so taken back. Like, wow, I just inspired that kid to be okay with himself. I wanted to know if there was a story with a fan that ever made you feel that way.
yeah, natural hair is like a really big topic that I advocated for a very long time, and I still do. Um, a lot of people said they started wearing their natural hair, their afros, because I made them feel like it was sexy. And one thing, sometimes you can be empowering without even being preachy. Like my form of it was just being a sexy, attractive woman with my natural hair because we were painted a story that you can't be attractive with hair like that. You can't be sexy with hair like that because women just want to be attractive, want to be pretty. And so when they're looking at like the magazines and they're looking at Playboy and they're looking at Penthouse and they're looking at what's in the music videos, they're looking at what guys want and what guys look at. And guys look at girls who have hair like this, like long, straightish looking hair. And so if they don't see their natural hair on what men find attractive, they're going to think it's not. And so I think just by being a sexy woman and showing it being sexy, like a lot of people resonated with that. And I had so many women and so many people say, I want to wear my natural hair now. I'm wearing my curls because of you. I'm wearing an afro because of you. So yeah, I wore my natural hair, nothing straight for eight straight years, like just wear my natural afro, my curls. I cut my hair because I got to a point where I got tired of it just being like all people knew about me, and I kind of just felt like I mean, there's a point where my hair became the entire brand. Like, I felt like my hair took over, like, me, and it just became like I was the girl with the afro, I was the girl with the hair. And I was like, this is kind of against the whole point. My whole point is like, we are not our hair. My whole point is like, as Black women, I'm tired of our hair being our entire identity and like always the topic. Like, whether we're wearing fake hair or our natural hair, it's always controversial. It's always an issue. Like, we cannot exist without controversy as Black women. I feel like when we wear our hair natural, it's that's not appropriate, that's not professional, that's not well kept. When we wear wigs and weaves, it's y'all don't wear your real hair, you want to wear that white girl hair, you're not happy with yourself. And I just feel like we cannot win, we cannot ever just be at peace, we can never just be left alone. So I cut my hair out because I just needed a break from wearing the same look all the time. I got tired of just wearing the same look all the time. And not just that, but like it just my hair after I had a baby postpartum, like a lot of my hair fell out, which people don't talk about. But when you have a kid, your teeth fall out, your hair falls out, your skin gets bad. Like not everybody, but like everybody's different. But losing your hair is a huge thing that happens after you have a baby. So my hair was falling out in clumps after I had my son, and I just wasn't in love with the way my hair looked anymore because my afro wasn't as full and as big as I liked it, and it was like kind of thinning, and it just didn't look that good. And so, what is he doing? So that's why I cut it, and then I experimented with different wigs and styles, and now I'm kind of like in my super glamour vibe. But I still advocate for natural hair. I still think natural hair is very important. And I still believe, like, as Black women, like, we should stop being policed by our hair. So, like I said, whether it's fake or natural, I'm tired of, like, we can never be at peace. White women are not constantly questioned about their hair being real. If they half these white women, their hair is not naturally blonde, and nobody questions them all day. Nobody stresses them out about it all day. I think like 1% of the world's blonde, but I walk outside, 90% of the white girls are blonde. Nobody goes off about it. But as Black women, we're not allowed to straighten it. We're not allowed to wear it natural. We're not allowed to put a weave in it. It's like everything is controversial with our existence. So just because I'm wearing a wig, I still advocate for it though.
Mademoiselle, I always ask the last question because it's the most important. What's the best piece of advice someone's ever given you? Sometimes we get advice from somebody as a joke, like, hey man, rent the tour bus, don't buy it. Or sometimes we get it with, hey, can I sit you down? Just remember, it could be stupid too, to just brush your teeth. And then years later, it turns out like, hey, was there something somebody said that joking in pass, in jest, or serious that every now and again comes to your mind of like, hey, you know what? That was sound advice, and you try and live your life through that word.
I think one of the most important things of advice I've gotten is just realizing that that timer that we put on ourselves isn't real. So when I was super super younger, I remember it's not just me. A lot of people feel this way, that they have to achieve everything they want to do before 30 or before whatever age. And it's like everyone's obsessed with like this timeline of I have to do this before this age, and and I guess that's important. And I remember being super young thinking I had to complete my entire career, complete all my accomplishments by a certain age for it to matter. And that used to cause me massive depression because every birthday, every year it passed, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm 25. I should have had this by now. Or I'm 23. I should have had this by now. Or I'm 26. I don't have a house yet. I don't have this. And it made me not appreciative of what I had in the moment. And it made me not like, it just made me live my life with this timer on, which is just not healthy or normal or realistic. And I think just being around older people, like my mom and I spoke about, my mom was like, everyone is so ageist. And my mom was inspiration because my mom didn't become a lawyer until her 40s. And now my mom's making the most money she's ever had in her life. She's traveling the world. She's finally living the life she's always wanted in her 50s. My boyfriend's in his 40s. That's when he got his house. That's when he started his nonprofit. He's doing the things he loves to do. And I guess it's being around people who are older that are doing their dreams later in life. You're realizing like life doesn't stop at 30. Life doesn't stop at 40. Life doesn't stop at 50. And you realize as long as you're on this planet, like you have time. If you're 70 and you're alive. You have time to do everything you want to do. You can start an acting career at 60 years old. Like, I worked with these models I hired in Vegas last year, and I had a wig company, like a mature wig company. I stopped it just because I didn't have the time to really do it, but it was doing well. It's just I realized that I just didn't have the time for it or the passion for it. Um, but I hired these older women that were models in their 50s, and one of them's like, I didn't start my modeling career until she was like literally like 46 or something, and now she's booked like every single day for modeling, and it's like she's living her best life. She's signed to a major agency doing modeling, something girls dream at 16, 17, and everyone thinks, oh, you got to do this before you're 21 and all that. And it's like I'm just heavily inspired every day by people I see that are older, that are just living their life, because it's like, yeah, why would life end at 30 or 40 or 50? And so I think like the Gen Z, I think, is the most ageist generation I've ever seen, of like, they shame people for just being alive after a certain age. And everything is, trying to do music and you're 40, you're trying to start a business and you're 50, and it's sad, because it's like, I'm sad for them, because as they age and as they get older, they're going to have that mentality. And it's like, I've now shed that mentality, which has now now I'm happy, because every year closer to 30 I was like, oh my God, I'm getting closer. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm 28. Oh my God, I still don't have this. And it's just like a miserable existence, because you're just always going to hate where you're at. So it's not necessarily a direct piece of advice someone gave me, but I've heard it indirectly said just through like talking to older people who just thought it was stupid to think you had to get things done by a certain time.
Incredibly wise words. Mina, I remember one time I was freaking out. I thought I was 28 and didn't do anything. It turned out I was 24 and I was just having a bad day. It happens.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Definitely thank you to Miss Stormi Maya. That was a brilliant interview. Guys,
Thank you.
go check out her Strip LV spread out now. You can also go check out her brand new podcast, which just released. Also hit some very important and heavy topics you need to hear. Go check out the Kickstarter for HickTown so we could get this movie made. And of course, we got to do the charity CC Cattle Company 2020 on Instagram. And of course, you can find her on Stormi Maya on IG. TikTok Ultimate Center. Guys, her name is literally the name you're going to find it under. So go check it out. Miss Maya, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Everybody else, be smart, be mindful, rock on. Ninja out.
Woo, baby, you listen to John the Ninja. Oh, your ears are about to go on a vacation. John the Ninja's got what you need.